Hello, I'm Mrs. Nahal, the Head of Humanities at John Wilmot, and I want to take a few minutes to explain to those of you currently in Year 7 about the offerings that you'll have in Year 8 Humanities lessons. The first subject we're going to look at is RE. Now, in RE, the first unit you'll be studying is a unit called Christian Concepts, where we look at the person of Jesus and his key messages and ideas. We then have a look at how different people have put his messages, put his teachings into practice. First thing we do is we look at the mother of this boy here. This is Anthony Walker, and he was murdered in a racially motivated attack. And what we do is we study how his mum, G, used her Christian faith to overcome the horrors of the murder of her son and why she decided to do that. We also look at this lady here called Corrie ten Boom. She lived during the time of Hitler in Europe, and she put her life and the lives of her family at risk by deciding to help Jews to survive by hiding them from Hitler and the Nazis. And we have a look at the Christian concepts and Christian teachings that she used to help her, we call them the Beatitudes, help her to have the strength to do something so life-threatening. After we've studied different Christians and how they've put their faith into action, we look at miracles. Do miracles happen? Why would miracles happen? What makes them a miracle? What are the miracles like in the Bible? And what do modern day miracles look like? What you could be doing Year 7 over the summer to get yourself ready for this unit is you could, for example, study about this lady in more detail. And you can do that by having a look on YouTube. The Hiding Place is a full movie about the life of Corrie ten Boom. It's 2.5 hours. If you wanted to, you could watch that. And it shows you what her and her family did, how they risked their lives, and then ultimately what happened in the end. And it's quite a sad story, but it's something that you can access very easily if you do have access to YouTube. As well as RE, you'll be looking at history, and linked to that unit in some ways, and also very topical for the Black Lives Matter movement that we've got currently at the moment, is you study about slavery in Term 1. Now, what you'll be doing is you'll be having a look at what an empire is and what the British Empire was like during the time of the Atlantic slave trade. And you can see over here the Atlantic slave trade diagram, and it's a triangle. You'll be having a look at this triangle in more depth, what makes it a triangle, what happened to each element of the triangle, and how people profited during the time of the Atlantic slave trade. You'll also be thinking about the reasons why slavery happened in the first place. Why did Britain and other European countries decide that selling slaves, having slaves, made good financial sense? You have a look at the reasons for that, and then you'll have a look at the reasons why it was eventually abolished, why it was ended in 1834. Now, this is a very topical unit, and what I mean by that is it's very current. You may have seen on the news recently about the death of George Floyd, and then the subsequent riots and protests and issues that presidents like Donald Trump have created from comments he has made. And then as a result of that, there is actually a lot for you to be able to watch over the summer to get yourself ready for this unit. So very easily, if you go onto the iPlayer, the BBC iPlayer, you could search slavery and you would get lots of documentaries that pop up that you could watch. So one that is very informative is Scotland's Hidden Shame. Or you could watch Black and British, that's on the iPlayer as well. There is also the film called Salma about Martin Luther King and a walk that he organised in order to try and get black people the votes in 1950s, 1960s America. So without going anywhere other than the BBC, there is a lot of information at the moment about the roots of slavery, how slavery happened, why slavery happened, and how that's impacted on society today. And then you will also, in geography, be studying about population. So you can see here up the side, you've got some key terms and their definitions. Study of population really is all about the changes in groups of people in any given area. And the things that affect the amount of people in a given area are some of these. So birth rates. If we have lots of new births, the population will increase. Population is also affected by death rates. So how many people die, for example, if there was a war or COVID-19. How many people die will affect the size of the population. As well as that, this unit will also have a look at things such as inequality and life expectancy. Now, these two are linked. If a society is unequal, so there is a lot of inequality in it, you may find that people choose to move out of that area. Or you may find that people need to move into a city, for example, in order to find a better quality of life. You may also find that inequality that some people face actually impacts on their life expectancy. So how long a person on average can live for. And what we would say is that the richer the country, the longer people in that country tend to live. In addition to that, you will have a look at population density. So how densely populated, so how many people live in a certain area. You may compare cities to rural areas, so countryside, where you'll generally find less people living as the space is needed for other things like growing crops and rearing animals. And you'll also have a look, if you can see this diagram here in the middle of your knowledge organiser, about the impact that population can have on the planet. So the more populated an area is, so the more people that live in that area, the chances are the more pollution you might find, or the more strain on resources. So for example, school places or hospital beds. Or you may find that the air is harder to breathe if there's lots of cars, for example, and fumes. So you'll be studying the impact that population can have on the planet. And this links to lots of other topics that you actually will be studying at GCSE. So it's again a really good introductory unit to help you with your GCSEs if you choose to pick that as your option. So you can see down at the bottom weather and climate, the ecosystems, coastal landscapes, river landscapes, tectonic landscapes, crime, resources, development, tourism and settlement. And if you want to do any work over the summer to prepare yourself for this unit, you can have a look at this useful web link here, which has got a population clock on it, which shows you how different areas of the world population is increasing over time. And you can also have a look at BBC Bite Size. So if you go on to BBC Bite Size, you will actually find, if you click on secondary, and you scroll down to geography, there is an 11 to 14 bracket here that's got information about Key Stage 3 subjects and sections of geography that you can study. But you can also have a look at the 14 to 16 unit, so this will be GCSE. So you could introduce yourself to issues about population. So for example, how big can our cities get? You can click and watch that, just to give you a quick introduction to the unit. And those three things are what you'll be studying when you first enter Year 8 at John Wilmot.